There are many people around Iowa City whose goal is to keep it clean. Patricia Fossum is one of those people. She is the Assistant Superintendent of Refuse for the city. She recently talked about what happens to materials that get thrown away and what effect they can have on the environment.
So most people in their mind, when they throw something away, it just goes away. They don't think about where that ultimately ends up. So when you put things in the trash, it goes to our landfill. It gets covered up with dirt and it sits there forever. So the more that we can keep out of the landfill, the better. So we have two programs for diversion in the city. The one is our recycling program, so that those materials get diverted and then can be made into other materials. Second is our organics program. We collect yard waste and food waste at the curb, and then that gets composted. So that keeps that material out of the landfill, and that's a big program for us that we're trying to increase, because the more organics material you can keep out of the landfill, the less methane gas is generated. So a lot of people don't think about food waste, but food waste, when it gets to the landfill and it starts to break down, it releases methane gas, which goes up into the atmosphere, greenhouse gas, global warming. It's a main proponent of global warming. So the more of that we can keep out, the better.
Steve Flake is another person whose focus is to keep the city clean. Mr. Flake is the Assistant Superintendent of Wastewater for Iowa City. Here he talks about problems that can occur with wastewater.
Too much of a sewer bypass, if you will. I think that's what you're talking about. It would go into a receiving stream or a creek. The loading rates that would be there for BOD, that'd be oxygen demand. It could kill fish, because that's going to uptake all that oxygen that's in the water, and then those fish are going to die because of a wastewater bypass.
Mr. Flake also describes some of the most common issues that citizens face when it comes to wastewater.
Our concern with people or the people that we serve, and it would just be their general public health. There is bacteria in wastewater, and if a home would happen to get backed up because the sewer main had an issue and it backed up into their home, it's just making sure that the house is cleaned up properly and there's no bacteria left behind to make anyone sick. There's times where we have certain manholes have holes in them, and kids love to do it. They'll go out and stick sticks in the manhole, and it creates a blockage, and then we have backups into homes.
When it comes to cleaning and disinfecting water and waste, it's no easy explanation. Flake gives some insight on how the process takes place.
Aeration basin would be the primary effluent from the primary clarifiers. So we've settled out the heavier organics from the primaries, and now we've got more of a clear, you can see from the effluent that's leaving the grit chambers to the effluent that's leaving the primaries, we've already reduced a lot of solids in the wastewater. Then it goes to the aeration basin, and that's where we start to worry about those nutrients that I was telling you, the ammonias, phosphoruses, nitrogens.